DJ Sbu, who is a renowned South African musician, DJ, record label owner, founder, executive, and businessman, has been going through spiritual transformation live and on the internet for the past couple of years.
Why am I not shaving? It's a spiritual journey and a decision. It's a decision that has been inspired by the spiritual journey that I've been going through. I probably will at some point, but I'm not ready to right now. I feel very comfortable the way I look. I think I actually look great. And I think I'm in my natural habitat when I look like this, when I don't shave my hair, my beard. But there's a lot I've learned with just letting my hair grow. There's a lot of knowledge I've been attaining in terms of self-development knowledge that grows me, that makes me a better person. Why have I been hugging trees? It has a lot to do with that. It's all connected. I walk barefooted. We've got a farming centurion. From time to time, we've got animals there.
Now, Sbu Leopa is someone who is renowned, respected, and has always come across as a caring person who cares about not only his supporters and fans, but about South Africa and about people. And he always has claimed and has always acted in line with these claims that he cares about the Black people of South Africa. And he's done a lot to help people. I say this not because I have some axe to grind with this man. I say this for the benefit of what is true and what is right for this country.
Okay.
He is at this time very wrong about something and has been pushing a certain element that will, in my view, and backed up by history, sink this country and the people of this country. And that is a return to African spirituality. He has been doing it for several years now, going back to the old religions and the old traditions. And I believe in this count, he is all the way wrong.
Damn!
He is misled himself and he's misleading people. And it contradicts his own core beliefs as he has presented over the years. As someone who cares for people, wants the best for people, and wants this country to thrive and people to thrive, and wants Black people in particular to thrive.
I'm one of the people that come from the township as well. I've also been very blessed to acquire an education through my parents' hard work. It wasn't easy, but acquiring that education made me believe ukuthi ayabona my sengizothola umsebenzi ngiqede ngizoba right ngiyophila kamnandi.
And I believe African spirituality, much like the traditions of the Druids and the Celts that St. Patrick drove out of Ireland, and the traditions of the Vikings and the Gauls and all the people of Europe and Asia, all these ancient traditions and religions that have been driven out, including Egypt, are now used by occultists like Jeffrey Epstein and others, and the Freemasons, of course. And these are the same sort of practices that are being used in African traditions that were used in all these ancient traditions, because ancient religions are more similar than they are not. And I often hear DJ Sbu and others saying that this is a return to an African religion. It's not. It's a return to the religion in the world that was not Christianity. I tell you now on a historical basis, there is no other tradition or religion that builds great societies. Only Christianity and the Christian practice. And DJ Sbu pushing South Africans, especially the Black people, back to these old religions will not be a benefit for this country.
If you dare, buy us a coffee. The link is in the description.
The resurgence of traditional African spiritual beliefs and ancestor worship in South Africa is harmful for this nation's progress and in any nation's progress. And I'm going to outline it in 5 ways. First, the twisted morality. Traditional spiritualism is built on a sacrificial society mindset. The morality of these beliefs is zero-sum. For one person to gain, another person has to lose something.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
This creates a mentality of taking advantage of, cursing, preying on other people to get ahead spiritually or physically in life. These beliefs foster deep suspicion within communities because personal misfortunes are often attributed to curses or jealousy. High trust is a prerequisite for any prospering society, and spiritualism acts as an enemy of advancement by destroying communal bonds. African spiritualism already lost the fight against monotheistic religions, specifically Christianity. Christianity succeeded globally because it promotes high trust morality, such as forgiving enemies rather than cursing them, which is more effective for building a stable and modern nation. Femininity and androgyny. African spiritualism has a feminine energy and is characterized by a feminine energy. It is incapable of building great countries because great countries are not built on femininity, they're built on the masculine. Practicing African spiritualism leads to androgynous people. If you see the practitioner, the sangoma, or the healer, whether they're a man or a woman, they often come across in a strangely feminine but masculine way as well. There's some sort of underlying disgusting nature to this that crosses the biological sexes, where men become more feminine and women become more masculine. It is sickening and it is disruptive to the family unit and social structure. And fifth, it's man-made. Spiritual African traditions, like many of the religions all over the world that have existed and preceded Christianity and were dislodged by Christianity, are simply made up by men at specific points in history. One does not need to adhere to traditional spiritualism to truly be African.
Your melanin connects to this, connects to the plants, connects to the earth. From time to time, when you get a chance, just walk barefooted.
Okay. If we are to build a great country, needs to become more Christian because Christianity is more logical and an effective foundation for South African society. It provides the masculine energy that moves the world forward, a higher trust society, high morality, the right kind of morality that keeps a society in balance, stable and healthy, and it is necessary for a country to thrive. I believe DJ Sbu is unfortunately wrong about this because his own spiritual beliefs now are contradicting what he has shown us all these years as a caring person who wants the black man to thrive. If you're pushing a spirituality that preys on individuals, that wants people to lose for someone else to gain, that creates a low trust society, that is in fact harmful to people through sacrifices, killings, and things of this nature. This is not the advancement of black people who he claims to love, and I believe him, but it is the subjugation of them in old traditions that will hurt them and do hurt them every single day, exposing them to charlatans that want their money, exposing them to people who want to use them as sacrifices. And why do you think so many children in South Africa get stolen and kidnapped? It's because they're being used in these sort of occultic practices.
On the back of this tragic story, parents are being encouraged to be cautious about minders for their children while they're away. The South African National Coordinator, Bianca van Aswegen, says that the case of Jocelyn Smith should be a warning sign to parents not to wait more than 24 to 48 hours to open a missing persons case.
South Africa has a problem, and DJ Sbu should not be helping to push it. South Africa has a problem that I think we should solve and avoid at all cost, and it is the leaning on traditional spiritual African beliefs, the sangomas, the ndumbas, the whole uprising of now worshipping and turning back to their ancestors after all these years has taken place very strongly over the last 15 years and has risen to the highest point it's been in a very long time, where all of a sudden everyone's a sangoma. Everyone has to get initiated or something. Everybody has now to go to the river and slaughter a chicken and use fecal matter in some sort of a potion and talks about snakes and little people visiting them all the time. This is a problem where people are living in terror of what will happen if they don't follow the calling, if they don't get initiated, if they don't follow the ancestors, if they don't slaughter this thing or that thing, if they don't put up this on their windowsill, on their door frames, or dig something in the garden. and if they don't spill some sort of blood. If they don't do such practices, if they fail to join a certain type of group, a secret group that meets at night and prays at night or astro travels,
you're a demon.
If they don't give up their child to be initiated at this particular initiating school or some other traditional form of initiation, people are afraid something bad will happen to them. And whether you believe it or not, bad things do happen to some of these people. I think this is a very bad practice, and it has come back in a very strong way, and it is part of the decay of this country because the decay is not only physical, it's also spiritual. And unfortunately, renowned DJ Sbu, the man who claims to care about his people so much, and I believe him when he says that, is part of it. And this is not good because he is leading people astray into a system of oppression and suppression that dulls the mind, imprisons people in superstition and fear, and leads them to bad practices.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
And people won't like this. But I'm telling you this now, traditional African spiritual beliefs are the same as any other traditional belief that has existed all over the world. African people in South Africa think somehow they have found something new, special, or some sort of revelation. Something returning them back to some sort of culture that they were. What they don't realize or fail to realize is that spiritual traditions have existed everywhere. From the Druids, as I mentioned, to the pagans of Europe, to all sorts of beliefs throughout Asia and the Aztecs in South America. All these traditional beliefs have existed, and they're very similar to the traditional beliefs here in Africa. In my opinion, and I think history and research bears this out, ancient traditions and spiritual beliefs are actually one religion in different segments. And now the Africans are returning back to this worship of that one religion, the traditional way as they call it. And I can tell you, this is not going to work. It does not build good societies. We should not embrace this. We should run away from it because it breeds that twisted morality. It creates that low trust society. It has already lost the battle against the true religion. It is hyper feminine and it is made up and used by charlatans and scammers just as much as it is by people who actually believe it. It works for both because people believe it. The rise of African spiritualism that has overtaken South Africa with the help of people, unfortunately, like DJ Swoop, who I respect, it creates a person who grows up with a twisted morality, and you can't build a country on it. I mean that it takes the things the human believes to be wrong and calls them right. It sets up the sort of morality that works against other people, because in this morality of African spiritualism, you are supposed to get what you want by taking from others. The same sort of people that follow this tradition will talk hours about Ubuntu, including DJ Spoo, and how we're supposed to treat others and have respect, and how we are because they are. When they go into their little traditional huts and they ask for things and they throw those bones, what they are asking for and what they are practicing is a morality that says to get something, someone has to lose something.
You're a demon.
That's the whole morality it creates. It is a twisted sort of morality that in everything that we do to get something, you have to spill blood. You have to exchange something and someone has to lose something. You have to curse somebody. It has to be taken from somewhere and from someone for you to gain. This is not the mentality that builds. This is not the mentality you need to grow a society or to grow a people. Because their morality, when they're believing in this African spiritualism, becomes a morality that is twisted so that other people have to lose for them to gain. That's why there are more hitmen than ever. Because sometimes the Sangoma will tell you you have to go kill somebody. You have to make sure this person is removed, as they like to say. And that's why hitmen in this country are doing more business than ever, cheaper than ever.
Igama uSandile wakambanjwa kade ngiyinkabi hitman 10 years back besinquma
This sort of morality allows for you to do all manner of bad things to other people, whether they are spiritual things like cursing them or burying something in their garden or making them drink something without them knowing. Whether you send something to them spiritually or have to do something physically, you always have to somehow victimize someone or something. And whether you believe these things work or not is irrelevant, because those people who are doing them believe them and their morality is twisted. And this whole country is becoming twisted. You can even see it in how people behave, but you see it in the little shops set up in little tin shacks all over the streets of South Africa, especially where black people live, that now sell all manner of natural, in inverted commas, healing potions and remedies and those sort of things. And people can go to the back of this little shack and consult the Sangoma or the healer, the Nyanga, or whatever this person is called. And they're being advised in this twisted morality, and they're twisting up this country. People believe these things and their morality is twisted already because they think they are sending someone something bad so that they can get something for themselves. So that someone would die or would lose something like their car, or that they would lose their house, or that they would lose their job, or that they would get sick, so that this person who's sending them the spiritual weapon, or whatever you want to call it, a spell, that they can get something. It is a twisted morality that develops in the people. If a people is like this, you have at your foundation a spiritual belief that is twisted and twists people into evil things that they can call good. That is why these religions were pushed out by Christianity when a society was being built here, whether you agree with that society or not. But with the resurgence of these things, those sort of things are coming back, and Zbu, unfortunately, is one of the people at the forefront of pushing them. It's become sort of normal now. People present whole internet shows on this.
But when I say God, man, there's an image of a guy that I don't like, you know, and that troubles me because I cannot be wanting to engage with that higher level of consciousness with that image, because it's going to perpetuate and manifest the things that have left me outside of the margin of.
There are sangomas on the internet that consult with people and give advice to people. We've become that sort of country where this thing is normal and people have this in their day-to-day lives again. And it's not good for our society. This is a death cult. This is a bloodlust religion. Just like the Vikings had, just like the Gauls had, just like the Celts, the Aztecs, or anybody else. It's not special and it's not different to those. That's why those people became Christians too. It's not a color thing either. That's why those people had to become Christians too. All the people of the world had to walk away from the same religion we walked away from, that DJ Spoo and others are bringing back. We don't need this in South Africa because it is a twisted mentality of victimizing other people to get what you want, whether spiritually, physically, or mentally. This is not the way forward. This is how societies die. African spiritualism creates this low trust society, which is a terrible way to build a society because it's twisted. Let me give you an example. If someone walks into your house and they spit on the ground or they cough in a funny way, that could be some sort of incantation. That could be some way they are cursing you or casting a spell or laying something down, a marker, or some sort of spiritual curse or something like that on your home, on your family. This is how these beliefs work. If someone gets sick in your house, it's never just someone got sick. It's always suspicious because could this be a curse that someone has sent upon us? And everyone in that case is a suspect actually. If they act a little funny, if they say something off at a family function, it's not just someone said something awful or weird. Something you don't understand is always cast in a matter of, is this person trying to spiritually curse us?
You're a demon.
How can you trust anyone if you live in a society like that, under that sort of belief? This is what these ancient beliefs propagate because that's how they work. That's the system. They are built on the sort of jealousy and taking from one to gain for yourself. And that's not the sort of philosophy DJ Sbu has always pushed. He was always about being kind to people, treating them the way you'd like to be treated, but now he's pushing the whole system that is returning people to the sacrifice, low trust society. Because in this sort of belief system, what starts to develop? For one, you can't trust your neighbor, because if he plants some sort of tree and it grows really fast, maybe he puts something in there to sort of get the whole community under his spell. If you hear something on the roof or in the ceiling, it must be them sending something your way at night. Your neighbors have special rats or special bats or special doves that fly into your house or on top of your house, or a monkey that climbs onto the ceiling. If you don't believe this, you might think that sounds a little strange or a little funny. People believe this and people practice these things, and I can tell you right now, they're quite real actually.
You're a demon.
But here's the thing. Have they advanced the society? With all that practice, with all those rituals, with all that magic, has the black community advanced? Of course, the answer is no. You see, in a society like that, you don't know who you can trust. Thus, you find people being very jealous because every time they see someone gaining something, it must be out of some sort of witchcraft. You find that people begin to hate when other people succeed because it might be some kind of witchcraft where they took something from you or from someone else, where people always say, why do things never work out for me? It's always based on that sort of spiritual belief. It's not based on maybe things aren't working out for me. I need to try a different approach. I need to work harder. Maybe I need a new job. Maybe I need some new skills. No, it's always about someone took something from me. And the reason my car keeps breaking down and I'm having all these problems and then the pipes burst and I have more problems is because my neighbors are cursing me.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Or my cousin hates me and is jealous. Why does he have a new Mercedes and my car breaks as soon as he got that new Mercedes? Can you see the sort of society you start to live in? Because that's how those systems work. It creates jealousy and it creates hatred. If your son loses a job, someone must be after him because they always hated your son because he was so clever, he was so handsome, and all of these sort of things. But other people's children are advancing. Maybe your son's going through a hard time, or maybe he's a loser. I don't know. However, in the system Sbu's pushing, someone is after him, and we must go after them because that's what you have to do. You have to now rebut the spell with your own spell. You have to take from them. These sort of spiritual beliefs create bad communities where people don't trust each other. That is the enemy of advancement for a society, because in any society that's prospering, you need a high trust community, and high trust communities win because they build great societies and great countries. The worship of ancestors and African spiritual beliefs have already lost the fight against colonialism. These people brought in here not their Western religions actually, but the Middle Eastern religion, the religion particularly of Christianity, which is the juxtaposition to those spiritual beliefs of the ancestors. Christianity creates a high trust community. Let me give you two examples. If someone does you wrong, you forgive them. You don't curse them and try to get them back and send something their way. And if you want something, you don't have to make someone else lose anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
The ideas of African spirituality have already lost because the foreigners came here and put their own ideas over the populations that lived here and ran right over the people of this country and built a country and built a society with high trust and with a certain type of morality that has won out in every continent and every single place that it has ever been tried. Their mistake was putting in a lot of their own ideas like apartheid and racism, and that's exactly how the whole thing fell apart. Because once you put in evil ideas like that, the idea is already flawed. You didn't even need them. Think about how Christianity has taken over the world. It's not by violence. You must understand that the Europeans, when they came over here, had already been converted to Christianity, and they brought it into the country because they believed it, and it also happens to work. They were no longer pagans and druids and worshipping Thor and Loki. They had left all of that behind. The Dutch weren't doing that anymore. They were some of the most Christian people in the world, but they also brought in their evil ideas of racism and prejudice and slavery that are not in line with the Bible, actually, of stealing people and enslaving them. So they now worship Jesus Christ and were saved. They changed their societies and they came here and they did the same, actually. Whether you like that or not, that's what happened. Whether you think that was a good thing or not, that's what happened. That's what built this country and many countries from Australia to New Zealand to America and anywhere else you can think of, because all those countries also had similar traditional beliefs to the old African systems, and they were pushed out gradually by the monotheistic tradition of Christianity because it builds better societies. The African traditions are also feminized. This is yet another reason you shouldn't take on those old traditions of African spirituality and worship of their ancestors. African spiritualism doesn't build great societies because it's also effeminate. It doesn't even build good families. And the African spiritual beliefs, just like many beliefs all over the world, have had this sort of effeminate energy that does not build countries and looks to break men and break society.
Gay!
That's why a lot of the time when you see a person who is a man, who is a sangoma, who practices these things, they often come across as effeminate, and the women that practice it come across as masculine. It's androgynous, it's disgusting, and it's gross. And these African beliefs, much like the beliefs in Thor and Loki, have lost to more logical beliefs like Christianity. Every religion has a source, whether you think it's man or man being helped by some sort of a spiritual entity, whether it's God, demons, the universe. The religion of African spirituality, as people cling to it as if that's what makes them Africans, you must remember, just like any other religion, whether it was being a pagan in Europe or for the Aztecs from South America, it was all made up. It all came from somewhere. It all had a time where it began. You don't have to cling to it as if it makes you less African if you don't believe in it. If you're proud of being an African, that's good. You don't have to share this religion. As a matter of fact, Christianity has built the best societies because it claims to be right from the only God that exists. But it also sees the world in the most logical way as the world is, and builds for high trust communities with masculine energy, which is the force that moves the world forward. And it builds these high trust societies with a morality that allows people to thrive, and it is not made up. You can disconnect yourself from the ancient practices and all the things that are used to scare people and want to intimidate people into being part of it, whether they want to or not, because otherwise, if they don't join, they'll get sick or they'll lose something or they'll die. I've seen many people overcome these things. You don't have to fall for it, no matter what the threat is, no matter what granny or auntie is telling you, and it's usually the women. What granny, auntie, or mother is telling you, you don't have to go through the practices and get initiated. You don't have to join. No matter the hardships, you will get through it. These things are weak and they've already been beaten, and they will only take from you, because when you're cursing someone, you first have to curse yourself. That's why you do the ritual. It is also preying on you. You are always better off when you reject these things. In the end, you always come out better. Christianity and the practices thereof are far more logical, far more beneficial for the person and the society. Think about it. And as a country, we should reject African spirituality and what DJ Swoo is pushing, unfortunately, because it does not build great societies, families, individuals, or countries, because it is an inferior belief system that is at its foundation, at its base, decrepit, corrupted, and twisted, and does not work. Reject African spiritualism for yourself, for your family, and for South Africa. Take on far more logical belief systems, and I would say the best one for building a society, a family, and an individual is Christianity. I recommend Christianity. African spirituality, worshipping the ancestors, witchcraft, paganism, druidism, Aztecism, whatever, and wherever it comes from, and whatever color those people were. Whatever you want to call it, these things are inferior. That's why every one of those cultures had to push it out to the one true thing that has built societies and people. And in my view, that is Christianity, and history backs me up on that. And if South Africa wants to thrive politically or otherwise, we should reject the African spiritualism once and for all and not see it rise as some sort of identity that people cling to. It was just made up. It's just like anything else. We can define today what it means to be an African. We do not need to cling to the past, especially to bad ideas that do not build societies. Because today, for the African, especially the men, you need to have a mind to build.
Thank you for listening. If you dare, buy us a coffee. The link is in the description.
Magwala.